Welcome back to the video blog. My name is Adam Daniel Mezei, and it is a beautiful day. So I'm going to get away from the punditry and the political stuff. I have what to talk about, but it's kind of boring in the sense of you can read about a lot of this stuff in the blogs and online. I have my particular angles, but actually today we're going to talk about something that I read in It's Not How Good You Are, It's How Good You Want to Be. That Paul Arden bestseller that we were talking about last week. I noticed a particular entry that I thought was rather delightful and something that would apply to your particular situation. It's, don't be afraid of silly ideas. And I'm going to read the entry and then we'll have a little conversation about it. Don't be afraid of silly ideas. We all get mental blocks. We need to get unblocked. The way to get unblocked is to lose our inhibitions and stop worrying about being right. The comedian John Cleese put it rather more eloquently. High creativity is responding to situations without critical thought, or what he calls playfulness. If you are in deadlock, here are a couple of tricks you might try. Number 1. Do the opposite of what the solution requires. Number 2. Look out of the window, and whatever catches your eye, a bird, a television aerial, an old man on crutches, or whatever, make that the solution to your problem. Maybe the next spread will help you with your logic. And there's a great little graphic on the opposite side of the page. This is a sticker for Fat Bastard Chardonnay wine. And I'll read the caption. It is the daft and inelegant name that has made this French wine an international success in just 6 years. And then, of course, in Old Schwabish, Engelbert Humperdinck. And then the caption says, a very silly name, but he's nobody's fool. Don't be afraid of silly ideas. I'm always amazed by people who can blog, think about blogging, talk about blogging, for example, have all the tools at their disposal, be it a typepad account, a WordPress theme, or Blogger, but never seem to be able to get off the ground, or as Chris Brogan likes to call it, engage their escape velocity. It's kind of amazing that people can spend time at bars, hours on end at cafes, hours on end complaining, but not come out with a single idea of their own. Seth Godin has a way of describing it. He calls it, do you have any bad ideas? So people say, I don't have any good ideas. Well, Seth Godin says, well, do you have any bad ideas? It's a way of kind of jogging the memory, of kind of getting the thoughts engaged, of doing something a little bit divergent, like Paul Arden says. Not necessarily what you would think to be the case, but then eventually things start cascading from that point onward. I like spitballing. I like brainstorming. I guess it comes from my background in writing screenplays. And I like that situation of getting into a room with a bunch of people and just throwing ideas out on the table. Never be at a loss for ideas. There are so many things that are sort of out there waiting for you to do something with. Ideas are not necessarily 100% novel either. Sometimes it's just a case of being an innovator on a pre-existing theme and variations. Putting various different ideas together like a bit of a collage or a quilt and coming out with something new. This is sort of the basis of something that I was thinking about when I was in Belgrade recently. I noticed this particular little thing that hadn't been exploited over there, and that's something that I'll be working on this summer with my friends in Serbia. Again, it wasn't entirely new, it was just something that I was looking at with a little bit of a different eye. And within 4 days after having coming into Belgrade, I'd already sort of proposed a list of different ideas that my Serbian friends just weren't able to come up with because they're living with it constantly. I guess that's another little tip, not only being silly but also being fresh. If you could look at something with a fresh set of eyes, it's kind of like a treasure. Because people that are stuck in a particular environment just don't have that way of thinking about things divergently. I guess it's similar to the way of I wrote my second book here in Prague, and I wouldn't be able to write that second book again, I think, if you sat me down today and asked me to write it, because I'm just not looking at things the same way, and I'm a little bit sort of, I guess you'd call it adulterated, unfortunately. It's really bright out there. It's just sort of blinking a lot. So that's the lesson of the day. Do not be afraid of silly ideas. And of course, it's from the best-selling It's Not How Good You Are. It's how good you want to be. Paul Arden, Adam Daniel Mezei, the city of Prague, and those are my neighbors. And as always, I wish for you, as we say in the Czechoslovak ethnic language, otherwise known as Czech, všechno nejlepší, which means the very best of things.